Hi everyone. So in this video I'll explain how I record accordion in my accordion videos. This is in case there's any accordion enthusiasts out there who would like to see exactly how I record accordion, especially if you want to do accordion recording of your own. Then I'll share with you what equipment I use, what my method is, and also show you what my whole setup looks like. As well as talk about some of the audio settings that I use on my equipment. After several months of recording accordion, I've settled on a recording method that produces excellent audio quality for the accordion and is also relatively simple, thank God. So I'll be going through the details of that. Just bear in mind that if you want extra details on some of the equipment that I use, especially my microphones and the audio adapter that I use, I would refer you to watch a separate video that I made on piano recording and how I record piano, because some of those details about my equipment are already covered in that video, so I won't be repeating them here. So the first thing to know about how I record accordion is that I like to use an audio adapter just like I do with my piano recording, and I have that right here. So an audio adapter allows you to take the high quality audio from high powered, high quality microphones and route that audio into a camera or camcorder without overloading the camera's audio circuitry. And the cool thing about an adapter is that it's got two XLR microphone inputs, so it can take two microphone inputs, and it allows you to modulate the audio signal, basically turn it down or turn it up as you see fit, in order to minimize hiss and noise and static and things like that. Without the audio adapter, it would be very hard to get high quality audio from microphones going directly into the camera, because the audio coming from the microphones is simply too strong and can overwhelm and sometimes even damage the audio circuitry that most cameras and camcorders have. There are exceptions to that rule. There are some microphones that are made specifically to be used with cameras and camcorders, but they're usually not high quality instrument microphones. They're usually meant for vocals, like a news reporter would use in a newscast report or something like that. So for high quality instrument microphones, condenser microphones, dynamic microphones, things like that, usually you need some kind of audio adapter to modulate and kind of pacify and tone down the audio signal before it goes into the camera. And the other neat thing about the adapter, and one of the reasons that I like to use it, is that it allows you to do basically what I call one-pass recording, where you can record both audio and video through the same device. In other words, you have a camera that gives you the video, and it's also incorporating the audio from high-quality microphones via this adapter at the same time. So you're recording both high-quality video and audio at the same time. You don't have to use a separate device for your sound recording and then sync up the audio later or anything like that. You can just do everything all at once with the help of the audio adapter. The microphones that I use for recording accordion are the same microphones that I use for recording piano, and they're right here. So I'll start with this one. This is my condenser microphone. It's the Sterling SM57. It's a very powerful, very sensitive condenser microphone. It can pick up sound from across the house or outside, so that's the caution with this one. It's very sensitive and produces very high quality audio, but if your neighbor's running his lawnmower or something outside, this guy will pick it up, or if somebody's shouting across the house, or a phone rings or something like that, it'll also pick up that audio. The plus side of that is that you don't have to have this very close to the sound source. It can be several feet away or even several meters away from your sound source and still produce high quality audio. My other microphone is different from that. It's this microphone right here to my right. This is the Shure SM57. This is a dynamic microphone, and it's unidirectional, meaning that it only picks up sound that's kind of right in front of it, and it does need to be very close to the sound source. So you want to have the sound source right in this mic's face in order for this mic to have a good audio response. So the plus side of that is obviously it won't be picking up sound that's coming from other parts of the house or background noise coming from outside. It'll only focus on what's right in front of it. But you know, I guess the downside of it is that means it's also less sensitive, and you really have to make sure your sound source is right in this mic's face. Whereas the condenser microphone behaves more like an omnidirectional microphone, and it can pick up sound from all around. It doesn't have to be as close to the sound source. So that's basically it for my microphones. Now we can talk about some of the specific settings that I use for these microphones on my audio adapter and on the camera. Alright, so here I'm going to discuss the specific settings that I use on my audio adapter for my microphones. And this specific adapter is called the BeachTek DXA-HDV audio adapter. In case anyone's interested, it's intended for use with camcorders, but I've used it with my Canon T3i camera without any issues, so I'm assuming it also works with cameras. Anyway, here you can see the two mic inputs, the left and right. My condenser microphone I always put into the left input, and my dynamic microphone always goes into the right. You can see I have the 48 volt phantom power turned on for the left mic input, because that's where my condenser microphone goes that does require phantom power, and I have the 48 volts of phantom power turned off for the right microphone input, because my dynamic microphone does not require phantom power, and certainly you should never turn on phantom power for a microphone unless it explicitly requires it, because you could damage your microphone otherwise. And I've got both mic inputs set at high gain. As you can see here, the switches are at the high position. That's what I found gives me the best signal to noise ratio. And my ground configuration is set on G2. That's not really important. I'm sure G1 is just as good. Basically, you're supposed to pick whichever one gives you the best noise and hiss performance while you're recording. So now I'm going to turn the adapter so you can see the power level control knobs for the left and right microphone inputs respectively. So the levels that I like to use for my microphones are what's currently shown right now, but I'd like to give you a feel for how the dials work and what they look like at their minimum and maximum settings, just so you can see it for yourself. So the minimum setting of each dial, if you turn counterclockwise all the way to the left, this is what the minimum setting looks like for both left and right. And keep in mind, these dials click as you turn them. So as you turn them, they will go dut, 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 so you can feel each increment of the way that you turn these, so it's easier to quantify how much you're turning up the volume for each mic. So now if I was to do the maximum power level, turn these clockwise all the way to the right, this is what the maximum looks like. So actually, for recording accordion, I do use the maximum power setting on the audio adapter, and this is because I want to maximize the contribution coming from the audio adapter, and I want to minimize the contribution coming from the camera audio, which I'll show and explain later. So the only change I make to this audio setting, right now I'm showing both left and right microphone inputs as being at maximum being at the maximum power level. I will take the left microphone input power level and turn it down a couple clicks. 1, 2, just like that. So it's a little bit less powerful than the right microphone input, and the reason for this is the left microphone input corresponds to my condenser microphone, and the condenser microphone, as we discussed before, is particularly sensitive and pretty strong in the way that it picks up audio, so I have to dial back the power just a little bit so it's balanced relative to the right microphone channel. So that's why I turn it back a couple clicks, and I'll do it one more time just in case you didn't catch that. So they're both at the maximum power setting, but now I'm going to take the dial for the left channel and turn it back a couple clicks. 1, 2, and this is for the condenser microphone. And note also this switch right here that controls the status of the audio channel. I've got it set to the stereo configuration up by the S, which stands for stereo. And the switches above the power level knobs are both set to the mic position because I've got mics going into the inputs on the audio adapter. If I was trying to connect a sound mixer or a sound recorder to the audio adapter, then I could switch these to the line position like that. But because I'm using microphones, I will keep them on the mic setting so the adapter knows to treat them as microphones. Finally, one thing to keep in mind is when I record vocals, if you recall, before each of my accordion videos I'll do a little bit of speaking. So for those sections I actually use slightly different settings. So for my speaking parts I will set the audio adapter in mono mode. So I'll push the switch down to mono mode, and I will turn the condenser microphone all the way up to its maximum power setting and basically turn the dynamic microphone off. So I basically use the condenser microphone only for the speaking parts because I find that the condenser microphone is better at picking up vocals, probably because you don't have to stick your face into the microphone for it to pick up your voice. So again, for the vocal parts, I set the audio adapter on mono, and I turn the condenser microphone all the way up and basically disconnect the right microphone input. I disconnect the dynamic microphone and have all the vocal audio coming from the condenser microphone. So that about sums it up for how I use my microphones with the audio adapter. Now we can get into some more details about how I use the audio features on the camera to maximize audio settings. Alright, so now I'm going to show you the audio settings that I use on my Canon T3i camera, because it does give you some control over how the camera handles audio. And certainly when you're trying to record high quality audio, especially instrument audio, you want to make sure that you're using every avenue at your disposal to maximize the audio quality. So obviously you want to use good microphones, have good audio adapter settings, but if your camera or camcorder has manual audio controls, which the Canon T3i camera does, you also want to make sure that those are fine-tuned to your recording situation, so your audio quality is as good as possible. So I'll show you what settings I use on the Canon T3i. First I'm going to turn the camera on. This is just the default camera viewing screen. I'm going to hit the menu button, and this is going to take me into the camera menu option list, and you can see I can scroll left and right through a bunch of different menu tabs. I'm going to go to the second red menu tab. Okay, and now you can see again I can scroll up and down through a bunch of different options. I'm going to select the sound recording option, okay, and I'm going to select the sound recording option again, and you can see that you can pick auto, manual, or disable. I'm going to select manual. I believe the default state of the camera is on auto, so the default state, it looks like this, but you would select sound recording and you would change that to manual. So now you can manually control the recording level of the camera, how sensitive the camera is to the audio that goes into it. Okay, and now I'm going to scroll down to the recording level option, hit enter, and now I can actually change the camera's manual audio recording level. And I can set it to anything that I want by scrolling left and right like you see me doing now. The setting that I like to use for recording accordion is actually a very low manual audio setting. So what I do is I start my cursor at the first tick mark like you see it now, but then I will move the cursor 6 clicks to the left. So I'm going to count them out, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then I'm going to hit enter and set it right there. Again, that's 6 click marks to the left of the first tick mark on this recording level line. So I'm going to do that again. I'm going to start at the first tick mark and go 6 clicks to the left, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and hit enter and set that as my manual audio recording level. So the reason I like to set it this low is for 2 reasons. First, the accordion, when you're recording the accordion, it's a pretty loud instrument, and you certainly want to make sure that it's not too loud. Even though you're using audio from the microphones and the audio adapter, you want to make sure that the signal coming into the camera is relatively low and controlled, so you're not getting distortion or sound clipping or anything like that. And the second reason is that by setting this recording level low, you are minimizing the camera's contribution to the audio quality that you're getting, and you are allowing most of the audio to come from the audio adapter and the microphones that are connected. You don't want the camera contributing too much to the quality of your sound. So, excuse me, the camera just turned off. Let me turn it back on. So again, by setting the manual recording level relatively low, you're ensuring that the audio adapter and the microphones are what's contributing most of your sound to the camera, rather than vice versa. If I was to turn the recording level way up, then the camera would be extremely sensitive to any sound that was going into it. So that's basically it for how I adjust my T3i settings to maximize the audio quality that I'm getting. The only other thing I can say is that in general, if you have a camera or camcorder that doesn't give you the ability to manually adjust audio recording levels, like most cameras and camcorders don't, they don't give you that option. You should still see what options there are that you can use on your camera or camcorder to improve your audio quality. For example, even if your camera doesn't let you control the manual audio recording levels, a lot of them will have a feature that's called AGC, and AGC stands for Audio Gain Control, and this is a camcorder or camera feature that basically allows the camera to modify any audio that it receives based on what the camera believes the sound should sound like. So this means that it will artificially amplify sounds that are too quiet, and it will artificially silence or dampen sounds that the camera believes are too loud. So this AGC feature, if you do have it on your camera or camcorder, you want to turn that off or set it to low or minimize it or whatever. Because you don't want the camera to be deciding what your sound should sound like. If you're using an audio adapter and microphones, that means that you're in control of the sound, and you're telling the camera what the sound should sound like. So you want to turn off any automated interference that the camera may have for your sound quality, and that includes things like AGC. Sometimes I believe camcorders call the AGC the mic ref level or something like that, and so you want to set that to off or low or minimize it or do whatever you can to take it out of the picture. Again, to ensure that the audio that you're getting from your microphones and audio adapter is unmodified and that it's as realistic as possible. Alright, that sums it up for the settings that I use on the T3i. Now we can take a look at what the finished apparatus looks like with the audio adapter, with the microphones, with the camera all connected together and ready to record. Alright, now that we've discussed the audio adapter, the microphones, and the T3i camera settings to use, I think we're ready to put everything together so you can see what the completed apparatus looks like. So I like to start with the camera and the audio adapter, and you'll need a screwdriver or something to screw these together. So you will screw the audio adapter into the bottom of your camera or camcorder. So that's what I'll do now, and you can do this in any order that works for you. This is just the order that I like to do it in. Find it the most simple. So we'll attach the audio adapter to the camera, make sure it's a pretty snug fit, which it feels like it is. And then we're going to put the camera and the audio adapter in the place where we want them to be when we're recording. This also could be on a camera tripod or camera support of some type. At this point, I like to attach the 1/8" audio cable to connect the T3i camera to the audio adapter. So now the audio adapter and the T3i camera are connected, and finally we will hook up our microphones. So I'm going to hook up the condenser microphone into the left microphone input and put the dynamic microphone into the right microphone input. And there you have it. So now the camera and the audio adapter and the microphones are all joined together, and we are ready to record at this point. So there's one last thing I'd like to do before we actually do some recording and see what the whole setup sounds like, and that is to point out the microphone positioning. So if you look at the way the mics are positioned right now, this is kind of my default setting for accordion recording. I have the dynamic microphone to my right, to the right side of the accordion, as close as possible to the treble side of the accordion by the melody keys. Okay, because remember, the dynamic microphone is unidirectional and the sound source needs to be right in this mic's face, as close as possible as you can get. So I like to stick the dynamic microphone right in the middle of the treble keyboard on the right side of the accordion. The condenser microphone, on the other hand, I put at the left side of the accordion, my left, okay, by the bass keys. And you don't need to be as close to the condenser microphone as you do to the dynamic microphone, because remember, the condenser microphone is omnidirectional and it's going to be picking up sound from all over the room and both sides of the accordion. So this microphone will pick up sound not just from the bass keys but also from the treble keys, the melody. And you'll be able to hear that the condenser microphone is picking up both sides of the accordion. So it's not as crucial to be close to the condenser microphone. If you're going to be close to a microphone, make it the dynamic microphone. Be as close as you can to the dynamic microphone, because this is the microphone that requires the sound source to be as close as possible. So that's pretty much it for the mic positioning. I like to put the dynamic microphone close to the melody side of the accordion, the treble keyboard, and the condenser microphone somewhere to the left of the bass side of the accordion. So now I think we can do a side-by-side recording comparison of these different settings. So what I'll do first is play a short song using just the camera's automatic default audio settings without the adapter or the microphones attached, which should sound pretty bad, as you might imagine. And then I'll play the same short song using the audio adapter and using the microphones so you can see how much better it sounds. So let's get started. Alright, so I'm going to play a short song, Mary Had a Little Lamb, using only the camera's audio features. I'm not going to be using the audio adapter or the microphones, even though you see them here. They're not connected, so I'm just using the default audio features that the camera comes with. So let's see what it sounds like. Alright, should have sounded pretty trashy. So now I'm going to play the song using the full setup. Now I've got the audio adapter and the microphones attached to the camera. So let's see what the same song sounds like. Alright, so that should have sounded quite a bit better. Well, that concludes my video on how I record accordion. We talked about my audio equipment, my microphones, my audio adapter, the Canon T3i camera that I use, as well as the specific audio settings that I use with my equipment. We looked at the way that I position my mics. We looked at how the apparatus looks like when everything's put together and ready to roll. And finally, we did a side-by-side recording comparison of how the accordion sounds when you are using the audio adapter and the microphones, and when you're just using the camera with its default audio circuitry. And hopefully you were able to see that the audio adapter and the microphones used in conjunction with the camera make quite a big difference. That the accordion sounds a lot better, a lot higher quality, that it sounds more vibrant, more realistic, like it's coming right out of the speakers at you, that the tones and the sound have a lot more depth and color than when you use just the camera with the plain default settings that the camera comes with, where the accordion doesn't sound that realistic. It kind of sounds metallic, almost like you're playing inside of a tin can, and the sound quality is a little bit muffled and restrained almost, and it just doesn't sound as good. So hopefully you see there is a big advantage to using an audio adapter with microphones, so you can record high quality audio and video at the same time through the same device. It certainly worked well for me, thank God, after I've figured out how to tweak these settings to get these results. Hopefully you were able to understand everything. I know sometimes I get a little long-winded in my explanations, but hopefully I wasn't too bad this time. Certainly let me know if you have any questions or comments or feedback. I appreciate all of that, and I wish you the best of luck with your own recording experiences with the accordion and with any other instruments for that matter. So, thanks for watching, and remember to thank God for everything. See you next time.